Present. I'm ready when you are, brother.
Let's see how this works. But yes, what's present for you? How are you? That's the first awareness.
Yeah. Yep. Are we live? Okay. So I said it nicely before, off the record, but I'll try to say it again. Presence is present because it's all we have. And two, we live in a world that doesn't even know what that is. Or at least in my world, I live in a world where what is reflected back to me is what's next? What's next? What's next? You know, it's like the whole actual neural circuitry in my brain, because I don't know what's going on in other people, so I can't make assumptions. So remember last call, I was like, I forgot exactly what the thing was, but I was like, your voice was repeating in my head, like, die, 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 right? So like, you used to say that all the time. You used to say presence is all we have. And before I was doing like the real work, I was like, what does he mean? You know what I mean? It's like someone saying like steak is good, but they've never eaten steak. They're like, steak's bomb. Like, it's so good. It's the best. Like, this is the best cut of steak you could get. But you've never tasted it. So like, you're like, oh, like intellectually you try to get it or whatever. Theoretically you try to get it. But it's like, right now, why am I worried about what I'm eating after this call? It's like, right now is the present moment and it's all that I have and I'll never get it back. And like, I just feel like the world that I'm living in doesn't know that. And again, within, without, out, within, above, below, above, right? And I think that I just closed my notebook by my hand flipping up like that. It's crazy. Secondarily, when you change, the world changes around you. When you change your world, your inner world, the world changes around you and reflects that back, because that frequency, right? When you're trying to manifest something, you got to get on that frequency, Neville Goddard shit, right? You got to get on that frequency in your mind, in your being, to get to that point. So instead of trying to change my family, I just changed myself. And when I'm vibrating at the highest level, then they vibrate at that level. And then, so the second thing that I was saying off the record was alignment. Like I said, everyone's like, is everyone out of alignment? But what is alignment? People are in alignment for what they are manifesting or what they have. But what I would say is like, let's just say this. Like today at work, I was on my alpha shit. So like I was like changing the work, like the warehouse, and then what manifested is Amazon just raised our pay too. So I just got a pay raise, and then I got more of a pay raise, which is a couple bucks. Well, it's more than a couple bucks. And then you do the math, and it's looking at like what I need to save, what I need the wealth the real wealth that I'm creating. That's what the pay raise did. Like that's a huge alignment thing, right? So it's like it's going to amount to over 5K a year, you know, which is great news. But I'm just saying that I wanted to like hit you up. I was like, I'll just tell you in person. But I guess like my question for you is, what is your response to compounding alignment? So once you're like, before you do 10 steps, right? Before you do 10 steps and you don't have clarity, for just in short, but once you live that out and you figure that out and you have that dialed in and you're focused on that and you're doing the real work, alignment compounds, right? So the manifestations come way quicker than in the beginning. Do you have thoughts on that from your experience, working with people as well as for yourself? Like what that like, because what I'm going to say is like the next level, because it's not just it's just not superficial fickle alignments like you see 222, you know, on the road. It's like more massive um movers, I would say.
Oneness. Everything is only you. Surrendering to that is, though, the surrender to receive, because you have to expand to the new container.
And what might that take or look like? Or I guess we're witnessing it, I guess, in my life, my space, where I'm at, right?
Well, where are you?
You got me on my question. Like, all right, I'm in Cleveland. Where's Cleveland? Ohio. Where's Ohio? America. Where's America? Earth. Okay. But where's Earth? I haven't been anywhere outside of Earth. So where the fuck are we? I don't know. I'm somewhere in the mountains, in a desolate location, I guess. But what I see in my background is peace. You know, like I was thinking about that at work today. I was like, I have peace tattooed on my face. Why did I do that? Because peace is priceless. You know, I think all the kids are at school because I think I know where you are. Um, it's real responsibility. As I'm just thinking, like I'm changing my family dynamic already. Like it's happening. Instead of me trying to like the ego wants you to change them, everyone else. You know what's wrong? Jesus says, take the plank out of your own eye before you take the speck out of your brother's eye. you know. But you can't be present. Back to the beginning of this conversation, you can't be present without attaining, tasting peace. You know, like presence, peace, and oneness all go together. So, but I have so much work to do.
What are you holding on to?
Right, exactly. Surrender. The ego, I would just say, just in brief.
What is Brevin's ego?
My perception of pain, my like trauma that was perceived as a lack of presence or oneness.
Do you know the tangible difference between old money and new money?
I know of the concept, like in The Great Gatsby and like Beverly Hills and shit like that. But what are you putting down?
Yoga versus a monk.
Continue.
Wes Watson versus Ray Dalio.
Right. Yeah. But what are you saying with the concept, the thought concept, or the reality of old money versus new money?
Connect the dots.
Okay.
There's relief, and then there's peace.
Okay.
It's one thing to alleviate something, it's another thing to solve the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and that's old money versus new money. It's one thing to acquire it, it's another thing to keep it for 4 generations.
Yo, what is I think in was it Compton or one of Kendrick Lamar's songs on Good Kid, Mad City, Dr. Dre says the hard part is keeping it, motherfucker. Like the success.
So that's the question for you. The reason there's a 10-foot to alignment is the discipline.
Yeah.
Do you become the person that has the things, or do you still think the person that has the things is an actor, a TV star, someone that's not you, right? Because many people acquire success and they still separate themselves. Like, I'm not that. Versus the understanding, the true peace is I am everything. Like, I am everything. There's no.
It's coming together. Yeah, I get what you're putting down. Yeah.
And then the work is realizing the dissonance. What is the story, place, thing, trauma, location in my body that allows me to separate these two things? And what's the distance? Why am I undeserving? Why am I not worthy? Right? I think worthy was a really big one that was coming up verbally the last 90 days. Since June, well, a little over 90 days, like 120. Worthiness. And I was like, oh, it's the first time people are verbally like expressing that is their block between them and like just doing the situation, right? The math or the drama. Drama sometimes is a lot bigger than the math. So in this moment, present reality, in these transitions, what's your next commitment? That's where we are energetically. What is Brevon's next commitments and how do we align? I'm gonna let you marinate on that. Don't answer too quick. Present.
Yes, sir. What came up, it actually got me like amped, got me excited to think of this. I've What came up as an intention, a motivating factor. Yeah, back up. So I texted my sister-in-law who's upstairs yesterday. I said, like, essentially, her daughter, my niece. You talk about a desired outcome, and like one time when I was working at Petri on my last job, I got my bike stolen and all this stuff. So I texted you like rough day. You're like, essentially, you gotta have your eye on the prize to fight to get to the desired outcome. You gotta have that. So I texted Julie and I said, Claire has me very motivated and so disciplined because when things get tough, I just think of like, do I want to be like a fuck up, like a drifter, for her when she's old enough to really realize, or when she's a grown woman in 20 years? Or do I want to pull up to the soccer games and be balling in every sense? Because all is I is all. And like, I have like, I'm just dripped and like, because I'm from a fashion standpoint, and I have all these tattoos, and like people are just like, "What is going on?" And then she's like, "That's my uncle." You know what I mean? So I think once this happens, and it's already happening, right? So that's why I was talking about the alignments compounding, because it's not just in the family aspect; it's also in business and fashion and shit, which I haven't mentioned yet. But I was so excited for what I'm alluding to that I wanted to message you about it, just like with the raise in pay and like that just happened right when I came on full time and stuff. Looks like I'll be going to Rochester for her birthday party. I was able to switch up the schedule because of the new HR lady. Um, but this is all because of your leadership. So like I'm like again, like I said in the beginning, this is divine gratitude for this shit. But what I wrote down to your question is like, what's the next commitment? It's like to heal my family legacy. Because we've talked about this, but it's like, I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this? Now it's like, I know I can do it and I'm going to do it. Like as I think you're back where all the children are and I'm in that place, that's another alignment, just like you sending me the Chrome Heart video. I've already watched that, but I watched it again from a different space. And when I watched it from the first, this is the whole thing about presence. It's like, I watched it the first thing and it caused me so much anxiety way back like weeks ago that I just like stopped it midway. But then this time, because I'm like, dude, we can be that. Like we can get to like that level, you know what I mean? Where you're creating the highest quality of home goods and stuff like that. Like that's the another desired outcome that just makes me tick. You know what I mean? Um, like I've been wanting to start a clothing brand since 2020, but I had no one to work with that actually knows what they're doing. You know, so um, yeah, I just as I'm speaking, I'm just thinking of her in my mind. She's upstairs somewhere, you know, and uh, like she already has this connection with me that's unlike anything else, you know, and it's like my meditation and mindfulness professor at Nazareth was like he like studies Eastern philosophy and he's Buddhist and I think he's Buddhist, whatever, right? So he was like, once you're an uncle, it's like you go into that next psychological development of like fatherhood, you know, and like which is Jungian. And like I know what that's like. And I know how important it is for my sister in law to know that I like come over here on my off days and care so much because her family doesn't. And I know how much it means for my brother. He just won't say it, you know? But like he knows that like I moved here and like down the road, like we're gonna be playing catch with her. You know what I mean? Like his daughter. And we had a fucked up childhood. But in its own way, it was perfect though too. You know? So like that's really like I don't know if motivation is the right word, but um the deep like the deep seated longing within Brevin's soul is like to have his family back as much as that can happen. Because it's my mom and dad's too, because they fuck shit up in their eyes. And again, everything's perfect the way it should work out. But like they're afraid as grandparents, like that their mistakes are going to reverberate, you know? So, and I just saw it at work today. Like I was vibrating at an extremely high frequency and spreading joy and love to the just in the warehouse. You know what I mean? And I, it wasn't as negative. It wasn't as toxic. It wasn't. People weren't bitching and complaining and stuff as much. It was enjoyable. You know, and I don't know what's next. Like I might get some leadership positions and stuff. So, um, but the one the one thing I haven't mentioned yet is this is crazy. It was within 20 minutes. I got two modeling offers because there's kids that work at Amazon who have their own clothing brands. This girl literally just came up to me. I was wearing something just like this, right? And then I had like a red and blue bandana on and black, all black like outfit and shit. And she just came up to me. She's like, "Do you model?" I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I got a clothing brand." So you want me to model for you? I'm like, let's go. What's your Instagram? You know? And then these girls that work together and they're like, you know, together or whatever, like they have like these black chicks. I was like, yo, I fuck with your hat. I was like, who? And I kept seeing this hustle through the struggle. That's their brand, hustle through the struggle. And like I've seen them wear shit. I never asked. And they're like, oh, that's my brand. And she's like, oh, I've been looking for models. I was like, I'll model for you. Just give me drip. So that's what I was talking about with the alignment compounding. Is like that's it's increasing in acceleration because it's trying to get into a different container because the one that's I'm in right now can't really fit. You know, it's ready to right. So, um, but back to the presence thing, like that's really the theme right now. Letting go and then presence. Um, and just like living shavasana. you know? Like, when I was at work today, like, there was times where I just, like, was like, I wanted to like, I can get in a peak state real quick, like, with music, but, like, there were times where I just wasn't listening to anything, and I was just, like, in my environment, like, in it. I was in the environment, and it was okay. I wasn't attached to so it's, like, really, really paying deep attention to inputs and outputs, you know? Like, that's another thing that came up is, like, I posted it on Facebook before you posted your shit about resources. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, intention. So there's an interesting dance that happens when you actually check in with yourself before you do something or make a decision, and you're like, "What's my intention?" Like, is this just an attachment? Is this just an addiction? Is this just like a part of the programming? Am I unconscious when I'm making these decisions? As my brother gets home. Yo, I'm on a call. I'm on a call. So yeah.
What does neutral mean to you?
Fairness, justice, and a little addition to that. When my aunt was in town, my brother's oh, not to get too much into it, but my uncle, my brother's brother, or excuse me, my dad's brother, he had a mild stroke like the other day, and health is wealth, bro. You know, he's not going to be around for maybe that much longer. God forbidding, God willing, inshallah. Right. So that's my uncle, Claire. I'm her uncle. If I don't take care of my shit in general or clean up my shit, then that's going to hurt her. That's mutual for me to take responsibility. If I'm going to be like a father figure, a pseudo father figure, and be like, yo, you need to like get ready and go to school, or like you need to like be nice to the other kids and like all this cliche shit, whatever, then I need to carry that weight to be that example. So like before, like when you're like, oh yeah, you're coaching now, Levi is your like, you gotta be an example for Levi. Now it's like I gotta be an example for my own kin, you know? So as a kid, my dad always talked about this, but my aunt said the same thing, that I was always concerned with what's fair, what's just. Like if there was an injustice that was done onto me or whatever, like that would I was very fixated on that. So I say that to say that mutual is like not equality, but it's justice. Everything's a 1-to-1 correlation, right? So what?
What is your next commitment? What's your commitment?
Heal family legacy.
In what areas?
What areas? Good question. Well, what's coming up is it's not about healing them, it's about healing me. About presence, oneness, alignment, responsibility. The more that I align with my divine will and purpose and do the work, go to work, is literally this whole conversation is relevant to that next commitment. You know, my node, my north node, which is my evolutionary soul in astrology, is Libra, which is the judge, right? But then also Vlad, who you know, who you scared off. He sent me a screenshot of what an ENFP is, and that's my 16th personality, and it talks about peacemaker, you know, like mediator. So it's really just connecting the dots. My mom's here, my dad's here, my brother's here. He's with his wife. They're so close that they fight, you know, at times, and then they have a baby, and the baby is seeing everything and absorbing everything. And it's like, how can Brevin connect the fucking dots and link them? But the only way he can do that is from his magnetic center. The only way the only way they can heal is me healing. Because once they see the transformation in me, the sky's the limit. There's no ceiling. Because love has no ceiling. And that's another big thing, because that's a really high frequency. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I've been giving a lot financially to people. Like, I'll ride in an Uber. I used to always just do no tip and 5-star review all the time. Now, like, if I have a good conversation with the guy, I'll give him like $5. You know what I mean? The ride's like fucking $7. I give him, you know what I mean? I give him like a 70% tip, you know? And I'm tracking what I'm giving in Notion, you know? Tracking everything financially. So I have all those numbers. And that's that accountability to myself. But yeah, it has to be love, because so that's actually the second answer to the question. What's my next commitment? It's love, but also presence is love. It's love for the now, love for the moment right now, you know. And that's abundance too, because we talked about this, and that's like, it goes through my mind. It's like, how do you be present? Well, because you have abundance right now. You have everything you need right now, right? And then I think that's what really jumpstarts the universe conspiring with you and using you as Allah, right? The one. I think the 10 steps, just for future reference from my experiences, I think the 10 steps to alignment is it takes faith to take the steps up the stairs because you don't know where the fuck it's gonna go. It's gonna go to darkness. But again, like you said, like people want this like what's sold on the internet, right? You know, fast cash, fast success. So the only thing I can control is what I've been controlling by letting go and surrendering. The only thing you can control is your surrendering, you know? And I'm wired in a way where this type of work is my bread and butter. So it's a gift because this is like, it's just perfect, dude. It's just perfect because it's like I can work on my soul. I can work on my consciousness. I can work on my will while at the same time doing art and creating financial independence. Like I see what my brother and Julie go through on a daily basis, just grinding, you know, 9 to 5. I notice like because I'm working at 10-hour shifts. I'm working on 1 to 11, 1 to 12, you know, and I see what it's done to the people who work there. But I'm willing to make that sacrifice. So that's another answer to your question: is it's sacrifice, healing, family legacy, love, sacrifice, right? And like I am very introverted in a number of numerous ways. So I mean, I fucking love. I'll just admit it. I love Amazon because it's a team environment and we're working and it's active. The Aries in me, I'm lifting shit, moving. Yo, go with that, da, 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 right? You know, I got this, da da da. How many cards we got left? Boom, I got this. I'll bang this out. Grab these cards, move this up there, right? So it's like it's a dance. So, but it's like I know my highest will is on the other side, or it's within, deep within. But again, it comes back to that presence of like the abundance thinking. Like I have everything I need right now. I'm good. I don't need to. I don't need to overextend somewhere else. I don't need to. You know, I need to be. You know, and now I'm seeing like my right now. I'm seeing my expenses being usurped by my income. Like I'm seeing it build. You know, and it's like I never. I for the longest time I was like I never am gonna like in my unconscious mind or in an unconscious statement, it's like I'm never gonna get ahead. You know what I mean? So just fuck it. I'll just cop this, cop that. You know what I mean? But it's like it's progress, bro. It's my thing. You know that. You know that's one of my things is progress. So like I'm feeling this in all these different ways that I've mentioned in the last, you know, uh whatever the fuck it is, hour ish. So and like Amazon's doing a bunch of corporate like restructuring with like the way they do things operationally. But I think it's awesome to like I'm actually connected with people who have warehouses, you know. I'm working in a warehouse. Amazon, the biggest warehouse distributor in the world. And then we're gonna build warehouses. So it's like connect the dots. It's perfect, dude. So You just gotta get it. You just gotta go into the darkness. You gotta be absorbed and consumed by the darkness, and then the light's on the other side. You know. By the way, was it just nod your head? Was it a full moon last night? Here we go. Oh, and I don't know. You don't know this. I was born on a new moon. Just to store that in the file bin back there. Oh, shit's good. Oh, another thing. Keep your thought, please. I've been writing down in my journal, and everything I write down, I get done. Like I'll just be like, yo, even if it's just like I gotta get the laundry done. Like there's times before I just wouldn't do the laundry. Like I gotta get it done, but now I'm at a place of alignment and manifestation that I just write it down and it just gets done. It just happens. So I want to stay on Let It Go for like indefinite period of time. I'm going to extend it. That and the Power an Hour are like the only thing that I'm consuming when it comes to actual written like content. You know, again, inputs, outputs. You know, not just aimlessly like, oh, I'm bored at work, so let me just pop in a documentary for fucking 50 minutes. No need for that. Safety.
What does that mean to you?
That's what's coming up. I'm thinking back to when I was a kid. There would be times where I would be like in the car with my grandfather or my dad or my mom, and I just felt so much love and so much safety that like I didn't have to worry about like where I'm getting my next meal, where I'm going, if the car's gonna break down. And that's the oneness. Like that's just my experience. I'm not saying every kid has that experience, but that was my experience. There was times of complete surrender. Like I don't know. That's it. Because anxiety is addictive. Stress is addictive. It's a loop. Negativity is addictive. Complaining is addictive. He talks about this. Everything's a fucking attachment. Everything's an addiction. You know. And once you realize that, then you have work to do. And then once you get through the work, like I'm being present in this moment right now. I just let go when I said that, and I just It's like you got to take a shit, and finally, when you take a shit, you release. It's just, but you could do it in every moment. And for me, when I release, it goes up and down in the heart. You know, that's the center, which is actually the center. But for me, it's the center. Yeah, it's just joy. Love and joy are connected for me. You know, they're cousins. You know, because then when you could create from a place like that, my best performances are that. My best pieces of garments and outfits are that. You know, but that has to do with non-attachment as well. Be free, be real. Everyone loves that name, by the way. The R3AL for real. So I feel like I want to draw. Everything's infinite, especially creativity, dying art, music. I'm sketching. I don't know why I'm sketching, but you are the architect. What do you guys do? One Billy. I hear my niece. She's up. I remember one time I was walking through Lakewood, and you're like, I was like, bro, I'm just happy. I'm just happy. And you're like, well, that's an emotion. I think what I really meant, or what I mean now, is joy. Deep, inner, peaceful joy, which can be attained in any moment, in every moment. Just by habitual thinking, proper, habitual, healthy thinking. But again, it's not about thinking too. It's about being. But just reminders, you know? But I got to be honest, like, shit is coming up, you know, through this. Like, there's periods of abyss. So, but once I come out on the other side, it's like, you know, it's like, okay, we've made a little bit of progress. We're good. We're all right. We died, but it's just all the unconscious stuff coming up, you know? Like, how far behind am I? How far behind are they? It's like, you know, do you want to do an hour, hour and a half?
You scheduled an hour and a half.
Yes, sir.
I respect the calendar.
Respect the calendar. Real respect.
You said something that compounded your other statement, which is the reason people don't walk into the darkness is because they don't know that there's another side.
Bro, that's what I've been experiencing. If you actually go and review these calls, or you remember these calls well, I said, now I know I can solve my problems. I didn't know that before. You know? Is the grass greener on this other side? Or it's always been green?
Grass is greener where you water it.
Oh.
It's presence, right? It's the habitual patterns you develop, right? That's why letting go and power of now are good anchors, right?
Yep. Anchors in water, right?
You know, keep you remembering. Oh, I'm drowning. No, no, wait.
That's remembering the divine, though.
Yes, it is.
It's what's organic. Like my little note on Instagram, you can like add a note to your profile. So when people see your profile, they like you add your status or whatever. And mine the other day was like be organic. Be real, but like be period organic. I just think from an artistic standpoint, the work that's getting done is just going to catapult the creativity and the art direction in a limitless level, like long term. Immediately now, it's already happening. I got 2 modeling offers in like 20 minutes. So, um, and what's the chances of that I'm working at a place where people are making clothes? My other boy who works there, he went to Atlanta over the weekend for a pop up shop because he has his own brand too. And I've been on him. I'm like, bro, let's go. Let's work together. Let's do this. Da, 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 da. Right. So, like, you know, so like that dream come true, bro. It's here. It's now. Like you said in the last call, it's yours for the taking if you want it. And like, I was like, you know what? I need to heal more. And then this shit happened today. So like, as I'm like, yo, I need to be present. I need to do the real inner work. The universe is already doing shit, you know, and aligning shit, you know. So technology, watering something is technology. Like through the system, through the approach, through the like, what's technology? Like I mean, organic technology, like our bodies, our brains, right? How are we utilizing that technology? Are we abusing that technology? Are we misusing that technology? Are we ruining that technology? Or are we watering it? Are we tending to it? Are we caring for it? Are we reaping what we want to sow? Because that's growth, that's progress. And in progress, there's hope because you realize that there's that other side, you know? That's what it means. That's what it means when God forgives you. Like grace in the Christian whole realm, God forgives you because you always have another try. But people are just bashing their head against the wall, and the wall is made out of fucking concrete. It's like, no, you got to go up the stairs, bro. But it's like a lot. As a huge flight of stairs. That's the quicker route. But then people just get so used to banging their head on the wall, they're like, it's like they're on death row. But it's just like you could just go to Barnes and Noble and find this book, and then actually, but it's like it's a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit more complex than that. That's why people need this type of coaching, you know, this type of work, this type of space that's being held. Because who else is doing this sort of shit? Because a lot of the people that are doing that are internet gurus that are like selling this, selling that. They're not actually like, have they done the work you've done? And the thing that I'm like, bro, how the fuck am I gonna get to like when I'm communicating with Jetson, we're on the same frequency. It's like what Bob Proctor talks about. If you call someone on the phone, that phone number is the frequency, right? So it's like when I'm communicating with you or when I'm in your actual literal presence, it's like the aura that you have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is like reverberates, and I feel that. I'm like, I deeply, unattachedly desire to get to a place like that spiritually. And it's like, what work have you done? And if I said that one time, I think it was when Karina was doing her thing. It was like, because he did it. So he knows you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, he's done the work. So it's like what we were talking about, the science of getting rich, do things in a certain way. You've done things in a certain way for years. It's like it's like, okay, now we got a fresh start. I'm in Cleveland, this thing's happening. It's like, give me 2 years of doing the work every day and see where my consciousness is at. Because it's doing the science of getting rich. What is rich anyway? What's wealth? What's real wealth anyway? You know? So presence. Again, it's natural law. That's what real is. Going back to our principles, our 12 principles, and the slogan and the motto and the mission and the principles and the vision, going back to our natural law. That's when we were with PHP. That's what it was right after the fact, you know? Shit's corrupted, you know? That's what I was saying in the beginning about, is everyone out of alignment? Because like once you get in alignment, you can drive really far. If your whip's in a good alignment, but you got to get it to the shop. You haven't brought it to the shop in 2 years. You haven't brought it to the shop in 2.5 years. You know, you haven't checked yourself. You haven't watered that shit. You haven't put the oil in. You haven't, you know what I mean? You got to get like you got to put in like $1,000 or $2,000 into your car because it's out of alignment. But once you get it good, you can drive cross country. You can go 3,000 miles. Fuck, you could just levitate on water and go to Japan. You know? So that's what I'm experiencing. Like I'm telling you, like literally like the door being opened where she just literally came up to me. This girl came in the same cohort with me, and me and her and one other dude is the only people who are still at the company at Amazon. And she just literally, I was stowing packages, and she just literally came up to me. She's like, "Yo, do you want to model for me?" Like, what are you talking about? She's like, "I got a clothing brand." I was like, "Yeah, let's go." Boom, it's done. 30 seconds, right? And then I noticed the two chicks' hat, and I was like, "Dude, I fuck with that," because she had like, she's a black girl, but she had like her hair. I mentioned, I was like, "You like your hair like you think your hair looks good like that?" The other day, and she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I do too." You know, so she had her hair, and then she had all black on, and then brown skin. Like, speaking of palettes, right? And then she had a dark, deep green hat with like a deep gold lettering, "Hustle Through the Struggle," like a beanie, and they both had it on. And I was like, what is that brand? Like, I see you wear that all the time. And I never opened that door. I saw it, but there was a block or there was a lack of frequency. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I got my brand." And I was like, "Oh, for real?" I was like, "What? Like, give me the Instagram." Blah blah blah. Like, she's like, and then I was just like, "Why don't I just model for you?" She's like, "I've been looking for models." Yeah, I was like, give me drip. That's my payment, and I'll model for you. And then I get photos too for my shit. You know what I mean? Like that happening makes me believe, makes me have faith in like the work that's getting done. Because the channeling, the channels are opening as we talked about last time. You know what I mean? It's like when a woman has a child, like she's got to open the channels to like let that to birth that new creation. You know? So because that's like you said, I wrote down right here. You're talking about other side. Well, what's the other side? Heaven? You know, what's the other side, the unseen world, which is the majority of what the world is. We only see a fractional level of things. Like, what is the other side really trying to get done on Earth in the physical plane, in the 3D, in the 4D? You know, then there's the 5D, and there's the other universes and all this sort of esoteric shit. You know, what are they trying to accomplish? It's like, well, they're only going to use messengers that are ready and doing the work, you know? I got new internet, by the way. I'm at their place, so see how great the quality is and shit. Because I have a dead zone because I'm dying, probably, right? So I was switching from Verizon to AT&T. So the thing should be. It's been it's been too long, but it should be at my place like tomorrow. So I'll be able to be in the privacy of my own home and be able to have these dialogues and not glitching and shit. So, but yeah, I do love reviewing these because I'll be at work and like I'll intentionally listen to the conversations that we have or that you're holding space for, and then it's like writing it down. When I write it down, it happens. When I hear it again, because I'm an auditory learner in a lot of ways. That's why I love music so much and stuff like that. But it's also kinesthetic, so I can, I talk with my hands. I like walking and listening to things and absorbing it that way instead of sitting and reading all the time. So yeah, cool. But yeah, isn't that crazy too? That like I just got full time. I got a $2 raise, and then they just raised everyone's pay, so it's 350. So it's like the percentage of that is what is that? 20, bear with me. I don't know how I would do that, man. I don't know, whatever it is. It's like it's fucking like it's like a 15% raise. So like I said, it's like what I need to save to create that wealth that half a year. It's like 6K extra. Like just within like a week, bro. And I didn't do anything. I just let it right. It's impeccable with my words, right? 9 minutes in counting. Exactly, too. It's in 1 second. 4:52 and 1 second. 8 minutes exactly. Dude, I fucking love Chrome Hearts. That's like my goal too. Like I have people who are vendors, like who sell that shit. Like I have their Cash App and stuff already ready for glasses. Their sterling silver glasses. Because you asked me that, right? You're like, what's your product? And the first thing I said was glasses. You know? So that's like what I want our brand, like Be Real to be like, is like craftsmanship. Like the highest quality of craftsmanship. So like people only need one thing of ours. They don't need like fucking like 3 pairs of Versace glasses. They just need like if you look at these are Adidas in Japan. These are made in Japan. They got like the hinges and all that sort of stuff and the craftsmanship behind the shit. It's just like that's less is more, you know? It's like if you have one thing that's perfect, why do you need more? Like old money, new money, right? So like old money is like I need one car that works for me. And that's fine. New money is like Wes Watson. I need like everything. And it's not enough. You know? Like he's still stuck in that like prison mindset, like that hustler, or prior to him going to prison. That's my feeling. Like he lost his bitch. And like he says he contradicts himself. He's like, well, if she's not gonna live to the standard that I'm living at, then fuck that bitch. But then at the same time, he says he always wanted to be married and have kids and stuff like that. You know? Yet he has his hustle. It's like the spiritual video you sent me. I've been listening to the whole thing, but I listened to part of it. It was like knowing when enough wealth is enough wealth. Like not just to accumulate. That's why like whatever you're worth, right? Like you have your personal money, but it's $5,000 a month. But then the rest is like invested in like your purpose, your business, your businesses, your divine aim in life to utilize that wealth in the proper channels and proper ways, you know? So I love that though. I love that. They said that like you need enough so that you can live comfortably, but just don't just hoard it or don't just incessantly get more, you know? That's good to remember that. And I'm saying this on the record. Like it's good to remember that as it shows up, as the channels come through, you know? You just got to do the work. You know what I mean? When I'm working a 10-hour shift, and I'm just like, fuck, I want to leave early. It's like, just do the work. It's a metaphor, right? But it's also tangible. And then, like, you're going to get hired full time. You're going to get a $2 raise. You're going to get, and then the company, Amazon Bezos is just be like, you know, we're going to give you more of a raise, you know? And then over time, that compounds and you're making way much more money. You think it's only $1 here, $1 there, an hour, but you just do the fucking math. It's like 3 times 40 times 52. Yeah, it's $7,000. $7,000 more a year. What?
Natural
Like
law.
what? I don't make this shit up.
Natural law.
I know, right? Yeah. All right. What's the intention of this call's ending? Bro. Listen. So remember when we started working together again back in March of 2023? And there's the marketing thing that I did and the internship and all that shit like that. So I created that album, that 𝓫 album or whatever. Like the whole, like my whole experience of real at that time, I created that. And it was all about, that's when I really started to fast. So I think the intention is like purity. What does purity mean? You know, like when things are toxic, when things are addictions, they're toxic, you know? So it's like, but again, like focusing in on that at the deepest level, you know? Like like down to like actual, just like thought patterns or feelings, trauma, unhealed, unconscious blocks, just like little nuance shit. I feel like that should be an intention or the intention, just going back to that time. Because I was listening to that. I said, lean back, lean in.
There you go. Lean in.
Lean in.
You want to enjoy.
No,
you want to enjoy. You want to generate a new perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's because I was listening to it before we had our call. It's just a good place and time that I remember
Well,
being
no,
in.
those are fine. I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
you went backwards, so now you got to go backwards to come forward to say like
No.
yeah,
That's that's exactly right.
that
That's
pivot.
exactly right. Yeah. I, I love pivots. Let me feel. Let me ask you a question. Is presence, that's my niece is screaming upstairs, and joy. So can you experience real joy without being present?
No,
Okay, so there we go.
that's why people chase the present with drugs and thrills and all the things they need. Their joy is being present. They just have traumatized themselves that they
I
can't.
fucking posted it on Facebook. I said, drugs make you present. What are drugs?
Everything that we're addicted to, other than
Exactly.
yeah,
That's why eating clean and drinking clean is so important.
so you can be the drug.
Because
Remember,
McDonald's, yeah,
you're triggering your own
that's the next
dopamine.
level.
If you understand how to
Yeah,
breathe properly, you don't need to go get it.
yes,
You can just
yes,
tap into
yes.
your own DMT and say, "Oh, I want to feel high right now."
It's fucking funny. Yeah, I know what you're doing. Yeah, shooting it up. Email. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's 5 o'clock. I gotta go.
Presence. I'm gonna send you a Slack, and then I like to keep things simple. I'm gonna send you a two statement negotiation.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, let's go. I got you.
Got
Love you,
you.
brother.
Love you as well. Love is law.
Family's at business. Let's fucking go.
See you soon, brother.
Yes, sir.